Welcome to NTD News. I'm Tiffany Meyer. Here are today's top stories. The Ukraine whistleblower's lawyer warned of a coup in tweets from 2017. He says CNN will play a key role. Trump responds to the discovery, saying it's a sign that the impeachment inquiry is a hoax. The Trump administration nominates the 158th federal judge. President Trump gives remarks at the White House to celebrate the occasion. Trump says that even more judges are coming soon. Former Attorney General Jeff Sessions is expected to announce he is running for Senate again. Sessions served as a U.S. Senator from Alabama from 1997 to 2017. He was asked to step down as U.S. Attorney General in 2018. And the California Attorney General made public that his office was investigating Facebook over its privacy practices. The probe follows similar ones by other agencies. His office says Facebook has been slow to comply. House Intel Chair Adam Schiff announced the first open hearings in the impeachment inquiry yesterday. Next week, 3 State Department officials are set to testify before his and 2 other committees.
We will begin our open hearings in the impeachment inquiry next week.
Bill Taylor, the Charge d'Affaires in Ukraine, and George Kent, Deputy Assistant Secretary for European Affairs, will testify on Wednesday. Former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch, will testify on Friday.
These will be the first of the open hearings.
The open hearings are the result of pressure from Republicans. They have accused Democrats of hijacking the impeachment proceedings and giving the minority party little control. A week ago, House Democrats voted to formalize the rules in the impeachment process, including opening up the hearings. But House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told Bloomberg News that there could still be closed-door hearings as long as they're productive. As part of opening the process up, Democrats have been releasing transcripts from closed hearings. On Wednesday, they released the transcript from Taylor's previous testimony. Holly Kellum, NTD News.
Congressman Jim Jordan says House Republicans plan to subpoena the anonymous whistleblower. The whistleblower's complaint prompted the Democrat-led impeachment inquiry into President Trump. Jordan says if the subpoena is approved, it would force the whistleblower to testify publicly.
Republicans have been asked to submit a list of witnesses they would like to testify. However, they still need approval from Democrats. Mark Said, an attorney representing the anonymous whistleblower, has offered to let the whistleblower testify in writing. Republicans, including President Trump, have said that's not good enough. As if forecasting current events, Said wrote in 2017 that a coup has started. At the time, he added the impeachment will follow ultimately. In July 2017, Said tweeted that we will get rid of him, and this country is strong enough to survive even him and his supporters.
If I'm coming off the plane and they hand me, look at this character. Okay, they just hand me this story. Coup has started, whistleblower's attorney said in 2017. You know when that was? That was a long time ago. It's all a hoax.
That same month, Said predicted that CNN will play a key role in Donald Trump not finishing out his full term as president.
Ultimately, it's all a hoax. It's a scam. And you know who helps them? These people right back here, the media. And then it said, oops, the light's going to go off, the CNN light is going to go off.
Said referenced his desire for impeachment in a slew of other Twitter posts. They included inviting U.S. officials to lawfully challenge the president and celebrities to promote his firm. Trump campaign's communications director Tim Murtaugh told Fox News that this proves this was orchestrated from the beginning.
The Senate yesterday voting on the Trump administration's 158th new federal judge nomination. President Trump gave remarks at the White House to honor the occasion.
Barely stopping to acknowledge the current milestone, Trump explained that even more judges will be coming soon.
And they will uphold our Constitution as written.
Democrats have invoked cloture for 118 of the 161 nominees confirmed so far. That means they have forced the Senate to take a separate vote to end debate before deciding on final confirmation. By comparison, the Senate had taken 4 cloture votes on confirmed judicial nominees at this point for all previous presidents. The time-consuming cloture votes cannot defeat nominations, but can delay them. President Trump condemned the Democrats' use of injunctions, court orders that require a person to do or stop doing a specific action.
This very destructive practice enables any one of 673 district judges to single-handedly invalidate critical executive actions and stop the enforcement of duly enacted law. We've had it many times, especially when it comes to our border.
Judicial vacancies are finally out of triple digits for the first time in 3 years. Trump says once all pending nominations are confirmed, he will have appointed 219 judges.
Former Attorney General Jeff Sessions is expected to announce today that he is entering the race for his old U.S. Senate seat in Alabama, according to media reports. The decision comes after months of speculation that Sessions might seek a return to the Senate.
Sessions' entry into the race upends the 2020 Republican primary. It is already a crowded field of those competing to take over the seat of Democratic Senator Doug Jones. Sessions was the first U.S. Senator to endorse Trump's 2016 campaign. The two supported similar policies on immigration and law enforcement.
I have put in place a zero-tolerance policy for illegal entry on our southwest border. If you cross the border unlawfully, then we will prosecute you. It's that simple.
In 2018, their relationship hit the rocks following Sessions' recusal from the Russia investigation. President Trump asked Sessions to step down from his post, to which Sessions obliged. Despite the turbulent relationship, Sessions has remained loyal to President Trump and continues to back the president's policies. In a speech last month, Sessions praised Trump's efforts on trade, immigration, and foreign policy. He stated the president was actually honoring the promises he made to the American people. However, the feeling isn't mutual. President Trump in June referred to his selection of Sessions as Attorney General as his biggest mistake. Sessions represented Alabama in the U.S. Senate from 1997 to 2017.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo continued his 3-day tour of Germany today, where he attended celebrations marking the 30th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. The tiny village of Modleroth, almost 200 miles south of Berlin, acted as the former border between East and West Germany. For more than 38 years, it belonged to 2 different counties and ideological systems. Half of the village was in the old German kingdom of Bavaria. The other part lay in the eastern state of Thuringia, one bizarre aspect of the country's division. Nicknamed Little Berlin, and has preserved its own 100-meter section of the Iron Curtain for tourists. In addition to the original segment of wall, which looks like a compact version of its big brother in Berlin, the old border posts, watchtowers, and barbed wire fencing still stand in their original positions. In 1952, East Germany started to fence itself off from the West, dividing families, friends, and neighbors. In 1961, East Germany built the Berlin Wall. On November 9, 1989, the wall came down 30 years ago. California's Attorney General has disclosed an ongoing probe into Facebook's privacy practices as it sued the company over its repeated refusal to turn over documents and answer questions.
California Attorney General Javier Becerra said Wednesday his probe has been going on for more than a year.
Facebook moved slowly in response to our subpoena, taking over a year to respond to a request for documents.
He said he was disclosing it now because his office was making a public court filing to force the company to comply with subpoenas and requests for information. The California probe is one of many legal and regulatory inquiries into Facebook and began as a response to the Cambridge Analytica scandal. It grew into an investigation on whether Facebook misrepresented its privacy practices, deceived users, and broke California law. Data mining firm Cambridge Analytica gathered details on as many as 87 million Facebook users without their permission.
Facebook knows some of the most intimate details of our lives.
The Federal Trade Commission fined Facebook $5 billion this summer for privacy violations in an investigation that also grew out of that scandal.
After watching gunmen fatally shoot his mother and 2 brothers, 13-year-old Devin Langford hid 6 surviving siblings in nearby bushes. He walked for miles through northern Mexico to get help. A statement released by the families involved in Monday's massacre details what the survivors witnessed. Mexican officials are also stepping up their investigation. And please be warned, this story has some graphic content.
It's now been 3 days since the Mormon family were ambushed in Mexico. Details of what happened on Monday are starting to emerge, and it comes with a graphic warning. The following account was put together from statements from authorities, relatives and survivors of the attack. 3 mothers and 14 children were travelling in separate SUVs near a border between 2 Mexican states. As bullets began to pummel the first car, Christina Marie Langford Johnson got out, waving her hands, trying to show they were not gang members. She was shot dead. She appeared to have placed her baby daughter on the floor of the car before she got out. The baby, called Faith, survived. 11 miles away, another car was shot up and burst into flames.
Nita and 4 of my grandchildren are burnt.
Ronita Miller and her 4 children were killed.
Look at the bullet holes in Donna's vehicle.
An attack on a third car killed Donna Langford and her 2 sons. A relative filmed what he saw at the scene.
This is devastating. Oh my God, blood on the seat. Oh my Lord.
7 children survived from that car, among them 13-year-old Devin Langford. After witnessing his mother and 2 brothers being shot dead, he hid the surviving siblings and walked 14 miles to find help. When he failed to return, his 9-year-old sister Mackenzie went after him. She was later found lost in the dark. No official explanation has been given for the killings. Mexican authorities say they may have been mistaken for gangs and were caught up in a territorial dispute. This is what one member of the community said about that.
Es completamente falso.
Completely false, he says.
Que no tienen madre.
He says the attack was premeditated and showed unimaginable brutality. Other relatives said the family had been used as bait to lure in an opposing gang into a firefight. Mexican officials have stepped up their investigation and have vowed justice for the victims.
It could be another record-breaking day in the U.S. stock market after a Chinese official said that Washington and Beijing have discussed rolling back tariffs.
The Dow jumped 200 points, or 0.7%, while those of the S&P 500 are up 0.5% and Nasdaq Composite gained 0.6%. European markets were also buoyed by the reports of tariff removal. Gao Feng, a ministry spokesperson for China's Commerce Ministry, said that both sides had agreed to simultaneously cancel some existing tariffs. The signing of the U.S.-China trade deal could be delayed to December at a yet-to-be-determined location. White House spokesman Judd Deere said negotiations are continuing and progress is being made on the text of the Phase 1 agreement. An interim U.S.-China deal is widely expected to include a U.S. pledge to scrap tariffs scheduled for December 15th on about $156 billion worth of Chinese imports, including cell phones, laptop, computers, and toys.
Now to the UK, where NTD's Jane Worrell spoke to John Bercow, who has just stepped down as the Speaker of the House of Commons. Now that he's no longer Speaker, Bercow is not required to remain impartial. He reveals his true opinion on Brexit, calling it the biggest foreign policy mistake in the post-war period.
Order! He's best known for saying that in Parliament. He said it around 14,000 times over his 10 years as Speaker. Order! Bercow will be remembered for his abundant vocabulary and theatrical shouts.
Behave yourself! Be a good boy, young man! Be a good boy! Point of order, Mr. Ian Black!
The role of Speaker in the UK differs to that in the US, where the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, is a party political figure.
Some people would say Nancy is almost the leader of the opposition to President Trump, and she does what she does fantastically.
In contrast, the Speaker of the House of Commons must be impartial.
I eschew party politics in my role as Speaker, and I wasn't a member of, connected with, owing any allegiance to, or expressing any support for any political party.
While in the chair, John Bercow was sometimes criticised for supporting those who wanted to remain in the EU. But speaking to media on Wednesday, he said he believes he treated both sides fairly. No longer bound by rules of impartiality, he called Brexit the biggest foreign policy mistake in the post-war period. Sir Lindsay Hoyle, a former Deputy Speaker, took over the role this week. Jane Werrell, NTD News, London.
Up next, Taiwan's foreign minister said that Beijing could resort to a military conflict with Taiwan in order to distract attention from its slowing economy. More on that when we return.
This is extremely gutsy. The Chinese Communist Party is not known for taking criticism very well.
The police have blocked off the streets and been firing tear gas and beanbag rounds at the protesters, and they've made several arrests.
警方呢是一直进行了一些推进，并且呢是多次舉起黑旗和橙旗呢，去發射了很多的催淚彈。
即係佢哋放催淚彈嗰時，嘭咁撞到個肚㗎。咁咧就我而家翻轉頭咧見到個咁嘅嘢，因為嗰時兵荒馬亂啦，我就。
That's the media liaison. They're telling us that we need to get out of here. They're telling the press to leave.
Boy, this tear gas is getting pretty strong.
Viewers have described China Uncensored like The Daily Show, but about China.
At the beginning, I was super excited when I got 500 views, and now the show's grown to about 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. One episode reached 7.9 million people. I'm a little freaked out that many people have seen my face. In 5 years, I see China Uncensored as the sole source of edutainment worldwide.
Taiwan's foreign minister said on Wednesday that increasing pressure on Beijing from China's worsening economy threatens the safety of the self-ruled island. He said the Chinese Communist Party could resort to military conflict with Taiwan to divert domestic pressure.
Taiwan's presidential elections approach in January. This year, China stepped up a campaign to reunify with Taiwan, pulling away the island's diplomatic allies and flying regular bomber patrols around it. China considers Taiwan a province to be reunited, creating a new era.
The Chinese not only pressure Taiwan militarily, they also try to suppress Taiwan's international participation. And some people even describe the Chinese behavior as suffocation.
Taiwan's foreign minister, Joseph Wu, drew attention to China's slowing economy. He warned that China could take to military action against Taiwan in an attempt to divert from internal pressures. He said China has a military intention over Taiwan, and they don't know when they are going to use their military power. Even though China's economy is still growing, it is expected to slow to a near 30-year low this year. This has underlined a challenge for Beijing. Maintaining growth has been fundamental to the Communist Party's political legitimacy.
Economic slowdown and power struggle inside has been seen as something that is quite visible. Especially the economic slowdown has caused unemployment, caused the discontent of the population.
He added Taiwan needs to be very careful. If these serious issues continue in China, it means Taiwan needs to prepare themselves for military conflict. But Taiwan will try their best to ensure peace.
A Swedish publishing house announced it will release a collection of poems smuggled out of a Chinese jail. The poetry was penned by a scholar and book publisher who vanished into Chinese custody under murky circumstances.
Swedish publishing house Konitz & Olsen said Wednesday the author's daughter smuggled his poems out of prison and contacted them. Chinese-born Gui Minghai is a Swedish citizen based in Hong Kong who has published books critical of China's leaders. He was abducted in Thailand in 2015 and later appeared in custody in mainland China. After his abduction in 2015, Gui was released in October 2017, but his whereabouts were unclear until January 2018. Then he was seized by Chinese agents on a train in the presence of Swedish diplomats. Martin Konitz, one of the publishers, says the attention of the outside world is a kind of protection for people like Gui. The book, called I Draw a Door on the Wall with My Finger, will be released in May next year, on Gui's 56th birthday.
Up next, students at the Chinese University of Hong Kong wore masks with their graduation gowns. By doing so, they were defying the city's mask ban and showing solidarity with protesters. That and more after the break.
When you look at TV networks in America, a soundbite and fight-it-out culture prevails on news and commentary programs. As a Canadian, I'm fascinated with America, and I wanted to offer American thought leaders an opportunity to share their thoughts in a deep dive format, where we can explore their ideas together. And so American Thought Leaders was born. The world's most brilliant thinkers believed that open discourse was the key to greatness. However, all around the world, we see that discourse is being stifled, and political agendas have subverted media. The Epoch Times launched its Global Thought Leaders program to bring back this great tradition of free thought. As the host of American Thought Leaders, every week I interview some of the most intriguing minds on the most pressing issues of our time. Be sure to check out our new episodes every week.
Our investigative reporters at the Epoch Times have spent 18 months uncovering the biggest political scandal in modern history. We connected the dots around Spygate, the actions by Obama-era officials against Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. Join me on Declassified as we bring you up-to-date developments on this unfolding scandal.
At a graduation ceremony in Hong Kong today, students wearing black masks defied the government's mask ban law. They say it's to show solidarity with protesters on the front line.
The students, dressed in formal graduation gowns, walked from a metro subway station to the ceremony location. They gathered at the Chinese University of Hong Kong on Thursday. Their message is unity with those protesting in the streets.
Students have a part in this protest, and for those who are out there, the frontier protesters, they are not alone. We are marching with them in our own ways.
They chant 5 demands, not one less. This phrase represents the objectives called for by protesters since June, now 5 months ago. The demands include withdrawal of the word riot to describe the protests, a full independent inquiry into the actions of the police, and the unconditional release of arrested protesters with all charges against them to be dropped. Also, some call for universal suffrage and the resignation of Chief Executive Carrie Lam. So far, the only demand to be met was the first, that called to withdraw the extradition bill. The bill would have allowed people in Hong Kong to be tried in China under the Chinese Communist Party, a law that protesters say would undermine Hong Kong's independence and freedom from mainland China's jurisdiction.
We want to show that we are united as Hong Kongers, and we as the future generation of the Hong Kong people, we need to tell the world that what we are fighting for.
Graduation day is often a day of mixed feelings, pride in what you have worked for, a bittersweet feeling that the previous time is over, and an uncertainty of what may be coming next. For these students, the feelings are no different, but the stakes are much higher.
Iran appears to be walking further away from its 2015 nuclear agreement with world powers. Yesterday, Iran's president announced that Iran will start injecting gas into the centrifuges at one of its nuclear facilities.
The gas accelerates the process of making high-grade nuclear material from uranium. A day earlier, Iran said it would also replace some centrifuges with newer models, claimed to work 50 times faster. Local media video is said to show the new equipment installed. The news fell on the 40th anniversary of the 1979 Iran hostage crisis, a hostile takeover of the old U.S. embassy. The news also fell as the U.S. dropped yet another round of sanctions on Iran, this time targeting individuals close to its Ayatollah, Ali Khamenei. Iran has long demanded that the remaining signatories of the nuclear agreement, that is, European powers Russia and China, protect his country from sanctions. Rouhani says if the Europeans hold up their end of the bargain, the treaty can be salvaged. President Donald Trump pulled the United States out of the treaty last year.
Up next, a Pennsylvania teen invented a way to eliminate a car's blind spots. The invention uses a webcam, a projector, a 3D printed adapter, and retroreflective fabric. More on her innovation after the break.
This season, take an incredible journey through 5,000 years of culture with Shen Yun. Discover why people are calling Shen Yun a visual feast, a pleasure to the ear, an epic tale, a must-see. Shen Yun, an all-new production every year.
The National Basketball Association is trying to net in more viewers with a new subscription streaming service. Dubbed NBA TV, the app totes access to live games and other shows like the warm-up and NBA Crunch Time for a monthly or annual fee. The app will also stream older games, including the NBA Finals from 2000 through 2019. The new service offers on-demand access for $6.99 a month or $59.99 a year. The latest motorcycles are being unveiled at the Milan Motorcycle Show. This year, it's the Honda Fireblade Superbike that is the talk of the show. The bike promises to exceed all performance records in its class.
The Milan Motorcycle Show, or the EICMA, is the largest motorcycle show in the world. In the last 15 years, the EICMA has attracted more than 10 million visitors. This year, Honda is stealing all the headlines with its latest iteration of the Fireblade Superbike. Since its launch in 1992, the Fireblade has been part of motorcycle history, rewriting the rulebook of performance superbikes. This year's Fireblade offers 214 horsepower and weighs just 443 pounds. MV Agusta is a multiple world championship winning Italian bike maker. It will celebrate its 75th anniversary in 2020. To mark the historic year, the company is launching the Rush 1000, a limited edition version of its hyper-naked sports bike with 208 horsepower. While fellow Italian bike maker Ducati is showing off its Street Fighter V4, a standard version of the Panigale Superbike. The EICMA show runs from November 5th to the 10th.
A 14-year-old from Pennsylvania has come up with an idea to eliminate a car's blind spots. The teenager began the project to help her mom. Elena Gassler said she was motivated after finding out her mom didn't like driving their family's Jeep Grand Cherokee because its A-pillars caused blind spots. A-pillars support a vehicle's windshield and provide protection in case of a crash. But their size and angle also create blind spots. Gassler's prototype uses a webcam, projector, 3D printed adapter, and retro-reflective fabric to make a car's A-pillars essentially invisible. She won $25,000 in a nationwide science competition for her invention. Thanks for tuning in. Join us again tonight. I'm Tiffany Meyer.